How's it going, guys? My name is John with Zebulon Pottery. This video is for my take-home kit for the Zebulon area. Hopefully the video is easy to follow. What you get with the kit is you get a little bit of clay, a little bit of glaze, and there'll be a like a little sheet that goes along with this, written instructions. This video will have timestamps so you don't have to jump around too much. Feel free to pause. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Facebook, and I hope you enjoy. Alrighty, so we have a few simple rules to go over. The first rule is we don't want the clay to be too thick, so about 1 inch in any direction. The second rule is we're going to go over, you don't want to, as soon as you get your clay, to mash it up, and you really don't want to trap any air bubbles. Air bubbles will cause your pottery to explode, so if you want your piece to survive, definitely don't trap a giant air bubble. Then we can talk about scoring. Scoring is one of those things where if you do it correctly, the piece holds up really well. I'm getting ready to show you what it looks like when it isn't attached correctly. Even if you smooth out your edges and you can't see a seam, if you didn't score and add water or slip, it will separate. If you score it, which is essentially just taking and roughing up the edge on both sides, and you add a little bit of water, the bond becomes significantly stronger. It's really hard to kind of show in video, but I'm going to show you, or try to show you, how much stronger. So I actually really give a good pull here, and you can see it actually snaps apart. Tools you're going to need, we're going to have some glaze, some water. You're going to need 2 cups for that, a brush, some kind of tool for scoring, obviously the clay, and then you're going to want a good working surface area. First step is you're going to go ahead and separate out your clay into 2 pieces. I like to have one smaller and one larger. The smaller one is going to become a handle, and the larger is going to be your pinch pot or your cup. Now don't worry if you have too much clay left over, because we're going to do like a little attachment piece at the end if you want. These are kind of optional. Now I do this kind of quickly, but this takes a lot of time, and this is time lapse, so this is not, don't think that you're gonna make it this fast. Take your time. You want the walls to be nice and consistent. The more you work it, the better your project's gonna be, but this is where the creative part comes in. So just take your time. Once you get it made, if it doesn't sit perfectly, give it a couple of good taps on the table and it'll flatten out that bottom. Once you've got your handle coiled out, you can then kind of gauge what you want the handle to look like. So that's something I kind of play around with, play with dimensions. You really want to kind of figure out what you want. Once you figure out placement, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to score and slip those. Structurally, if you do not score and slip this, when you pick up that cup, that handle is going to fall off. So definitely make sure you score and slip everything, but the handle is crucial. Now, one of the ways you can tell that it's attached is when you go to pull on it a little bit, it actually has some grab. It won't just pop off. So you can see me pulling on it right there and testing it. And then I just make it look pretty. I clean up my seams. until I'm happy with it. Now what I do is I decide, okay, well I've got some extra clay and I wanted to make an attachment. I make a little lizard here. I rough out like a head and a body all at the same time out of the one piece. I make legs and arms. And then I go ahead and I score and I slip everything again. Now on the smaller stuff you might be able to get away without scoring and slipping it, but you do take the risk of it breaking. So it's kind of worth taking your time and scoring and slipping everything. It might seem like it's unnecessary, but if you don't do it, your piece might break, which I guess isn't the end of the world. You know, the idea of this project is to kind of get your hands dirty and play around with it. Once I'm happy with it, I decide where I want it on the cup. I place it on the right side of the cup because if you're right-handed, you drink out of the left side of your cup. So that's something to think about. Once I'm happy with the placement, I score and slip it, which is obviously a very common theme. Once I get it on, I decide, okay, well, how do I really want it to look? I move it around a little bit and really kind of put my flair on it. But this is all personal taste, things that you really get to decide, and it's completely optional. So don't think that you have to make an attachment or anything like that. That's the finished cup. And then once you've let it sit for a little bit, you're going to bring out your glaze and your paintbrushes, and you're going to go ahead and glaze this. Now I've sent a little bit of glaze with you guys. I just go ahead and glaze the whole thing. If it completely dries out, that's not the end of the world. You can set this overnight and let it dry and then attach your glaze. The last thing you want to do or make sure is that you do not paint the bottom. I dry foot everything, so you can't have glaze on the bottom, and you want to make sure you put your initials and your date, because every artist should sign their work. And then with this project, I will have like a piece of paper that kind of explains everything, and I will have timestamps in the video to make this a little bit easier. I really appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I hope you enjoyed it.